We're looking at Novo Nordisk, the maker of Ozempic drug. It was Fat City from here, September of 2022, 90 weeks later, or 91 weeks later, into the end of June 2024, 90 weeks, low to high. When I saw that, I told clients immediately this was probably a blow off top because the vertical move up into a 90-week cycle suggested an important top. Now you got this sell off and then you rallied back into what Gann would call a square out, basically where the blue line crosses the level of the prior swing low is a square out. That means time and price are in balance. You should be looking for a change in trend. Furthermore, you can look at this and see that the Gann line, the one by one, this green Gann line, called the high in price as the square out called the high in time. So time and price came together. That gave you the lower high and set up this waterfall decline. And it works again. You got another square out in December of 2024, setting up the next leg down. And then you sold off hard. You rallied back into June of 2025. You had a square out where this tan line crosses the level of the prior swing low, the same way the red line did it here in December of 2024. So that's 3 times in a row. The square out has called a series of lower highs, 1, 2, 3. And the next one is not due until November, mid-November 2026, over a year from now. What I said back here to clients, I told them in June of 2025, it's going to sell off into November of 2026. That, and don't take this as a certainty. This is just what the Gann chart suggests. I'm not telling you to buy or sell NVO. I'm telling you what the Gann chart suggests. This is a Gann tutorial, not trading advice. But what that said, you have to wonder if it's called 3 lower highs, why wouldn't this be another lower high over here? Well, in fact, it could be. Anything is possible with Gann. If you break above this green 1 by 1 line, maybe you rally back into high, and then sell off again into this one out here. So you have to keep an open mind. And with Gann, it's always about time and price. How you trade into a cycle determines how it's going to behave thereafter. So obviously here you got to rally into high. That set up a sell-off. Now, if it had sold off into this cycle, maybe that would have been a low. That didn't happen. But we have a series of lower highs. The 90-week cycle gave you a blow off top. You got this long-winded, very long bear market for NVO. And, I have been telling clients for over a year. I told them back in June of 2024 that this was a high. And then I told them to watch these square outs all the way down. And here we are. November of 2026, Back to the Future. Nobody from the mainstream media will admit that, hey, you could have known back here that you're going down here by November of 2026. I'm saying unless you, if you get above this line, maybe you go up into it. But more likely, you're just going to continue down. And if you have time, you can look at a video by Tucker Carlson interviewing Callie Means over a year ago, which explains some of the fundamentals for why this stock is in such a bad shape. It is a scam. There's no question about that. The mainstream media is funded by Big Pharma. Everybody knows that. They're never going to cover this story. But the reality is you can lie and get away with it on NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, etc. You can lie to the to your viewers and get away with it. What you can't do is fool Wall Street. Wall Street knew back here that this was a scam. It was a bubble, a 90-week cycle into high. You got a series of lower highs. This is a bubble that popped. You know, from a high of 148, if you go back to, say, 24, retesting the March 2020 low, you'll have given back the entirety of that rally. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about this. It may not find support at 24. It might go to 0. I mean, this is one of the biggest scams you've ever seen. It's possible they go bankrupt. So there will be lawsuits over the next few years that are going to hound Novo Nordisk. You know this is going to happen. You know, because this Ozempic drug, just watch the video that Tucker did with Callie Means over a year ago. I saw it over a year ago, and the one thing I would disagree in that interview, Callie said it's on course to be the biggest drug ever the world has ever seen. I could have told you back here that it was not going to happen because the bubble popped. You do not want to invest in a bubble. You know when the bubble pops, bad things happen. And you can clearly see this thing has lost a lot of money for investors. So even though Callie Means might be right about his diagnosis of the situation and how it was a scam, it paralyzes the stomach, Ozempic is really bad for your health. All that's true, but you did not fool Wall Street. Smart money knows that it's a scam. They may not talk about it, but they know it's a scam, and they voted with their pocketbook. They sold the stock all the way down. And I'm just saying, this thing is one of the most beautiful bubbles you've ever seen because it's behaving precisely with Gann principles. 90 weeks low to high, square out after square out after square out gives you lower highs. Now, once everyone starts to realize how big this scam really is, you aren't going to find any buyers for this stock. It's just going to keep going down. So that's the only thing I would disagree with Tucker and his interview of Callie Means is that, hey, you can't expect the scam to go on forever. It has popped. Maybe in part due to Callie Means and his interview with Tucker Carlson, people have come to realize that, hey, they should not be doing Ozempic or any of the other GLP-1 drugs. You know you're messing with Mother Nature. Watch the interview. You'll see what I'm talking about. You know, I think it's beautiful because it shows you that even when there are all kinds of lies told in the mainstream media, Gann still works. You know, you cannot fool the Gann charts. Gann called this thing all the way down, and I believe it's probably going to find a low in November of 2026, about a year from now. So watch this, see what you think. I have posted this chart before to YouTube. I have posted it to Twitter. And I'm saying this is not a new chart. This is something I've been following ever since the top in June of 2024. So, you know, this is great illustration of why we do Gann. If you like this video, give us a like, register to the website. You get a few free reports. And if you tell us what you're interested in, we'll send you a Gann chart on the market of your interest. Thanks for your time. Good luck in your trading.